Hey, this is Sammy from Night, and you're listening to What's Metal.
Hi, this is Joseph from Night, and you listen to What's Metal.
So we are in Stuttgart tonight at Club Zentral at the Hellgart event, and there are a couple of very interesting bands playing here tonight, and Night is one of them. So you're from Sweden, as far as I understand. It's the first time that we feature you on our show, so it would be great to give us a bit of a rundown of your band history, how you came together, and what you did so far.
Well, we're a band from Sweden. We started out with wanting to play heavy metal, like early heavy metal stuff, and we started out in 2010, or late 2010, and we released the first singles in 2012. And I guess we started quite early, and we were quite young when we started, and we got right on it with out playing shows, because that was the best thing that we knew. So far we've been doing that for a couple of years, and now we're on our third album that got released 2 years ago, called Raft of the World, and we're gonna release our fourth album next year, hopefully. And I guess we've been having some members hopping on and abandoning the ship, but right now I think we have a pretty good and solid constellation, which feels really good, and we've been having it now for a couple of years. And I think it's going to be good stuff coming up in the future.
Yeah. Okay, so style-wise, you didn't really tell our listeners yet in which direction this goes, because obviously they're going to hear a few of your songs tonight, so you probably have to give us a little bit of a hint.
We like to call ourselves that we play rock music, but that of course is very diverse. But I guess we have some early heavy metal influences, a lot of late 70s stuff and early 80s stuff.
Obviously, we like the twin guitar, especially on our latest album, Raft of the World, where we expose much more what we want to do, not instead of what people think we should do. This is what we're going to do, and yes, some sort of classic rock with lots of traditional inspired from Boys to Cult and that type of band, Thin Lizzy, maybe some Maiden, and of course Abba.
Yeah, so, a lot of Abba.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Definitely Abba.
Okay.
Sweden's #1 band.
Yeah, that's a national treasure, is it? Yeah.
It really, we're big disco fans. Yeah. So we try to incorporate that in the music without pissing people off too much.
Yeah. So, you're still, playing to, let's say, audiences that would be more like traditional hard rock and metal fans, I suppose. So I'm not sure if they're going to crucify you in public if you're stating that you're big Abba and disco fans. I don't know.
Hopefully not. We played at most of the festivals that we are currently making shows on. It's pretty much heavy metal, more like thrash metal and sort of stuff, and we play more easily listening rock. But I think we most of the time get the audience on our side. So So I probably won't get hang too high for liking Abba.
It's quite funny because we get labeled a lot as heavy metal, and heavy metal can of course be heavy metal, really heavy stuff. And we always end up as it feels like the softest band on the festivals.
You know the Swedish band Gehenna that did the Headbangers Against Disco campaign in the 90s?
Oh, they're Swedish? I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Wow, okay, cool.
They had these albums like Kings of the Sidewalk and stuff, yeah? And they had this 7-inch series, Headbangers Against Disco.
Of course, I know the Death to Disco thing, which all the rock people were on. Yeah. But then when you of course, that was back in the days with popular music versus alternative music. But nowadays, I think retro interested people likes a lot more diverse stuff, which is cool. So I hope we don't get put in death to something.
Tonight.
Please don't kill us.
Okay, we'll see if you are still around after you release your next album. We'll see. Yeah. So the current album is Raft of the World. I think it's a phenomenal record. It's really nice, really good stuff. So we have to talk about that a bit as well. I don't think there's a single weak song on it, and I find that to be rare these days. I think there's too much stuff being released. So my question would be, I mean, where do you set the bar? You know, how do you decide what to kick out and what to put on an album?
Yeah,
That's funny because we talk about like we always talk about we should write 25 songs so we can like pick out the best ones. Of course, we have ideas like all the time. Like we have sketches and such, but you like some of us in the band, like we have some ideas each, and then we put them together and see what we have, if it fits, kind of, and then we continue working on it separately a little bit, but also together, and then we come together for the ending product and try to shape it into an album. That's at least how we did for Raft of the World, and I think it worked really well because the band chemistry was really good. And like choosing out stuff for like taking away songs, I think when we felt something like it didn't fit as much, we didn't focus as much on it all like from the beginning. So we focused on the songs that were gonna go on the album from the start, kind of. So I mean, it was not like it was just lucky, I guess. Luckily, they were kind of good, all of them. I hope.
Yeah, but we also did rewrite some of the songs, right?
Yeah,
I
sure.
mean, like the opening track, "Fire Across the Sky." From the very end, it did not sound at all like it came out on the album. So, and that was really important for us to feel like every tone, every guitar chord, every word, everything on the album. We have to be presentable for us. Yeah. This is, I want to stand for what I do. Just don't as a bunch of fillers and more like 2 good songs in your own opinion. Because I want every track on the album to be, this is what I would like and this is what I will listen to if I bought the album by myself, which I obviously did. Of course, just for support myself and support the scene. But I would also say that our former drummer, Dennis, actually was a big piece for the album, that it turned out on the sound and all the, what is it called?
The details?
Yeah, especially the details. And because the way he thinks of things, it's not similar in how we other things, because he has more of a big picture prospects on the songs and all the stuff. That's the feeling I got at least.
Yeah, but he helped us come together.
Yeah.
A lot. So.
And also the producer, we work with Ola Ersfjord. For this album, The Raft, we work with the new producer Ola always from Spain right now, or he's living in Spain, but he's from Sweden, and he helped us to how do you say?
I think he made us feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And really made us play the best that we could do.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. Which I guess is like a good mix of being comfortable and actually like liking what you do, and that's hopefully then it's a good end product, like which makes other people like it. So I think that's hopefully what it is.
What also fits very well, I think, to the music is the cover artwork. I think this is very well done. I don't know. It certainly fits the name of the band. Yeah, it's kind of like dark and gloomy, and it has all the red tones in there. It looks quite dramatic.
Yeah.
So what's the story behind the cover art? Who picked that?
We worked with like this illustrator or painter, artist Mattias Frisk, he's called, from Sweden. He's like living in like very close to where we live, and he's been working with us since the start. And we weren't sure that we were going to work with him on the last album because the third cover is very different from the first ones, which are very like cartoonish kind of.
We get to that.
Yeah. yeah. Which is like, it's a big difference. No, but like, but I think that we wanted to it felt like we had a new band set up, and we had like new songs that felt quite different, and it was a bit more dramatic, like the music of it and the whole theme of it. So I know that we started to look at like old oil paintings, like 1700s and 1800s, and they're quite dramatic, and they all tell a tale. So we wanted to have like something like that in the cover, and then we gave him free hands and showed him some some ideas from old stuff that we liked, and then he came up with that, and we really liked it, like with the clouds and the ocean and like you say, the tones and the colors and everything. We thought it fit the music quite good. So yeah, it was like a collective of ideas.
Yeah.
So you already touched on the album art of the two previous albums, which I don't know. I don't know the albums, and honestly, I would never pick them from a record stall if I would see those cover arts. I mean, those are, in my opinion, cheesy, atrocious, like the worst stuff that you would have seen in the 80s. Yeah, like, did you do that on purpose, or was there just nothing else available?
Okay.
Like, who's to blame here? Yeah, no, these our listeners can't see it, but they start to point fingers at one another here. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Blame Sammy.
I don't take
Explain why.
I don't take responsibility. But I think it was like when we started, like seriously, when we started the band, we were like 17, and we like everything was about we like to have fun with each other, and we like to mess with stuff, and we like to just, I don't know, I think we had too much jokes for ourselves that we tried to put out in stuff, and we didn't think about how it will be looked at by other people. And then like I think that's a little bit of part of the reason why it looks like it does, because also before we didn't have a clue about anything, like what we wanted to put on stuff, so we let a lot of other people's opinions be like, this sounds like a fine idea, you should try this. It's like, yeah, that sounds cool, let's try it. And we didn't like give it another thought. And we just thought it was fun because we didn't pay that much attention to the small details and the whole big picture and such. But it feels like when we finally like made the third album, who is quite different, both like graphic wise and like music wise and everything, we thought that like let's try to like put everything on paper. What do we wanna like? What is the big picture of it all? Like how does the music fit to this? How does the graphics fit to this? And like who should we work with and who should we talk to about opinions, and not just anyone and such. So I think we were just a little bit older. Even if a lot of younger people have done a lot of cool stuff, I think we were just we had a little bit too much fun.
Okay.
I'm sorry about that.
Apology accepted. Yeah, but is the music any good? Yeah, so I don't know those two albums. Compared to the current one.
The current one is absolutely the best one, I think, and it's a solid work. But I think the old one, they have some songs that are like we still play some of them live, and they work out, and they're quite straight on songs. But as a big picture, I don't think they stand up as much to the new one as they should. Yeah. But they got some songs that I like at least. But yeah, as albums, it's quite like it's a bit too spread out, I think. A little bit. Yeah.
Okay. So I figured that you're a fairly young crowd, and when I listened to Raft of the World, I thought, okay, I mean, these guys have themselves somehow under control, in a sense that, you know, when I was young and growing up, let's say 80s, early 90s, I was, let's say, full of anger, frustration, rebellion. Yeah, you wanted to have extreme stuff and so on, and you know, people would go for thrash metal, then death metal, then black metal, and so on. Don't you have that urge? I mean, how do you keep yourself under control, maybe emotionally, to compose this type of music at that young age? Unless my question is just stupid.
No, we do understand. I think that sometimes I do listen to death metal, not that much black, but especially old school death metal, and I know Sam does as well. Sure. Yeah, and but as a persons in the band, our personalities, I think we're quite calm and relaxed people. I mean, like all of us like the countryside, and you don't have to be living in the city and feeling the pulse and everything. Just want to relax, and I think that kind of coloring our music and our thoughts, how to write songs and the inspire and all this stuff from the environment and countryside aside. Okay.
Yeah, sure. It's like I feel sometimes stupid because I don't know, a lot of people want to do everything all the time, and I love like being I love to like try new stuff and do everything, of course, but I think that I really appreciate like the calmness of like not having to be out where everything is all the time. And I think that like sounds weird, but it's like that mentality kind of also shaped the album absolutely, because like we went out into like I live outside the city in an old house, and Oscar who sings lived with me before, so we used to sit like out in the basically in the fields and just write and talk about music. And then like we talked about should we like sometimes we talk about like should we call someone and get into the city and like see what's happening. Nah, let's not do that. Let's try some songs instead. And I think it's just like I think it's like it's not for everybody. It's just like the mentality that we happen to have like as a common thing in the band. And I think it's I mean the city where we live, like the city where Linköping, which is the big one, which is close by. I think it's like it's not that much that's happening there, and it's like Sweden is a small country because there's not that much people, and like when you're home, and it's like it's not that much happening. Of course, we have the death metal stuff, like you say, but I know I heard an interview with like Nicke Andersson from Helicopters, and he said also like in the 90s people were like craving death metal and extreme stuff, so they came to Stockholm. But then they noticed when I came to Stockholm, it's like any other boring city. It's like I think it just depends on which person, like which kind of person you are, and that's I guess if you are secure with yourself and everything, and you like you know what you want to do, like distant stuff isn't that like attractive as it would be for someone else maybe. So I think we're old souls. Short answer.
In younger bodies.
In younger tense bodies.
Was that was that typing answer on your question or?
Yeah. No, I think that it makes it much clearer to me. Yeah.
It's quite hard to put a finger on exactly what. Like I understand what you mean, and I hope I kind of made sense. But
it's just. I mean, it makes perfect sense the way you explain it to me. But let's see, even nowadays, when I meet younger bands, like most of them would really try the extreme side first. Maybe it's also easier to do that. To just I don't know, put on heavy distortion and scream like crazy and so on. So this is how you started, or what?
Sure, I played thrash first, and he had like a speed metal band before.
Yeah, motor inspired trio actually. But that was when I was younger, and as you say, I had those rage and furious feelings inside of me, and I want to play fast, I want to play heavy, and I want to thrash, I want to destroy things. But somehow that changed. Now I'm gonna sound old, but during the years, and today I think it's more in the details of making fine notes and tones to put on a record or a song or something like that, and more like I want to mean something. No, I just don't want to sound furious and angry. I want to mean something for the listener as well. I think that the listener wants to hear something and maybe imagine for the person himself to that's and that and that and so on. That's more important today than it was in my earlier years apparently, but
Okay. So even though you're more maybe within the realm of hard rock and 70s stuff, you have to answer our last question for tonight, and that's always the same thing. The show is called What's Metal? Sure. So from your point of view, what is that? What is metal? Is there a definition for this, or can you put that into words?
Of course, like metal. If you talk about music, metal can be something that makes you like excited. It's something that like has emotions in it, and like people want to come and see what it's about. And like I think the biggest thing that I noticed like now when we've been touring for a couple of years is metal as a community and like as a gathering of people is like that's kind of metal. Like just being together with people from like you go to Spain and you're like you have this in common, so like you're best friends now. And then you go to Germany and like you have friends there, and it feels like Europe, for example, that we have toured a lot, is like such a small community spread out on a big surface, and everyone is like coming together for the same thing. And I think that must be some kind of thing what metal is from the start. That like together with like all these emotions and the like eager to find something that you like together with other people and such. And of course James Hetfield's right hand. That's also very metal.
Right? You want to add anything?
Yeah, I want to add Steve Harris' right hand, of course. But I think metal is everything you want it to be.